This last week's devotional, I want us to think about the progression that Peter made towards surrender. We're going to look at verse 5, verse 8, and verse 11 of Luke 5. Before we do, though, remember the theme of Luke, that we would know with certainty who Jesus is and who we are in response to him. That's what Peter experienced at the Lake of Gennesaret when Jesus got in his boat. Peter discovered who Jesus was in a more powerful way than he'd ever done before. And he also discovered who he was in relationship to Jesus. In verse 5, we see that Peter was conflicted. In verse 8, we'll see that he was convicted. And in verse 11, we'll see that he was convinced. Whenever we're convinced, we surrender. Peter is conflicted. This is where Peter says to Jesus, in his response to inviting Peter to go deeper in the deeper water, Peter says, "Master, we've worked hard all night and have caught nothing. But because you say so, I will let down the nets." Peter's clearly conflicted. He's struggling with his way or Jesus' way, whether or not he should call the shots or let Jesus call the shots. And you and I are conflicted all the time. And in our conflicted state, oftentimes it's a sign that we're not quite ready to rely and certainly not ready to surrender. Because we are wondering, can I give up my attachments? Can I give up my mindset of control? So as Peter wrestles with that, he moves forward to this place of experiencing God's generosity. All of a sudden, the boat is filled with fish, filled to overflowing. And the conviction of the generosity of God brings Peter to this place where he's not conflicted anymore. He's just convicted that he's a sinner. He recognizes and sees more clearly his own brokenness, his own fallenness. Reinhold Niebuhr, the author of the Serenity Prayer, says something I love. He says, "To be a sinner is our distress. To know it is our hope. To come to the end of self-deception, excuses, alibis, and hiding is a profound moment of hope." That's what Peter had. He had this profound moment of hope because he was finally seeing Jesus for who he really was. This generous God that wanted to pour out on him kindness and mercy and grace in spite of maybe his own resistance. This God that would accept him and meet him right where he's at. And Peter got a better view of himself, that he was a sinner, that he was constantly kind of resisting going along with God. Conviction's a great thing, because it leads us to this place, like Peter in verse 11, when we're more convinced to say, "Yes, Lord, here am I, send me." And in Peter's case, "Yes, Lord, I'll leave everything and follow you." God always wants to work and have us work through the places we are conflicted, through a step of conviction, honest acceptance of who we are in response to who he is. And then to embrace his generosity and say, "Lord, I'm ready to leave it all behind and follow you." I hope today you will leave everything. That doesn't mean that you don't have a house or don't have a car or don't have a boat. It means that they are no longer where you find significance. They are no longer where you find security. They are no longer where you look for approval, because now you have found it in him. God bless you. Soak up today a little more of the richness that we see in Peter's journey, so it too can enrich us on ours. Lord Jesus, meet us where we are, but don't leave us where we are. God, help us to bring to you all that we are conflicted over, because you accept us right where we are. Lord, help us, Lord, by your Spirit to be convicted about coming to our knees and seeing clearly who you are. You are the God that has all the power to fill our boat to overflow. And Lord, to come to this place of being convinced to leave everything and follow you. Agree with me. Say, "Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord." I'll see you this week as we continue our journey through Luke. God bless you. See you soon.